There's something about moving into a new place. A blank slate, a fresh start. But what if someone was already there? She seemed kind, helpful, trustworthy. She even helped us move in. She said she was the landlord, took the rent, always in cash. But nothing was ever on paper, and no one else in the building ever saw her come or go. Until one day, she vanished. And so did my wife. This isn't just a ghost story. This is something worse, something that wears your trust like a mask.
You owe me.
Let me tell you about the time we moved into a place that cost more than we expected, because what we paid wasn't money. This is She Wasn't the Landlord. We had just gotten married, 2 freelancers, a new city, starting over from scratch. The apartment was older, but it had charm, big windows, creaky floors, and a price we could actually afford. It felt like a fresh start. Then she appeared, an elderly woman with warm eyes and silver hair tied in a perfect bun.
Call me Mrs. Verma. I take care of everything here.
She handed us the keys, smiled, and walked away. No contracts, no ID, just trust. At the time, that felt comforting. Now, it was the first warning sign. The next morning, she knocked again. And there she was, smiling, holding a tray with 2 cups of chai and warm samosas. She said,
Just my way of welcoming new people.
Cups placed on table, soft laughter. Nisha loved her immediately. They chatted like they'd known each other for years. She told us not to worry about paperwork.
We'll sort it out later.
She smiled.
You two look like honest souls.
At the time, that felt like kindness. But even then, there were things I noticed. She didn't use any keys to enter the building. She didn't even live in one of the flats. Not really. And the neighbors never said hello when she walked by. Rent day came quickly. Mrs. Verma knocked and asked for it in cash.
Bank transfers take too long, and these digital things confuse me.
We paid. No receipt, no acknowledgement, just a nod, and she left. I didn't want to make it awkward. Nisha told me not to be paranoid. But I started tracking it anyway. Each payment, each date.
Something about her eyes, the way they lingered on the money, like she needed it for something more than rent.
There was a door right across the hall from us. Always locked. Always cold near it. It had a rusted padlock and no nameplate. One evening, I asked, "What's inside?" Mrs. Verma smiled. Too quickly.
Just a utility room. Nothing important.
But late at night, we started hearing things. A sound like furniture being pulled, or someone dragging something heavy across the floor. I brought it up again. She just said,
Some things are better left sealed.
Then she laughed, and the next night, we heard breathing right behind that door. One morning, a bill slipped under our door. No note, just a folded gas statement. It was addressed to someone else. Mr. Goyle, property owner. I asked Mrs. Verma about it. She waved it off.
Old tenant. The company never updates things properly.
She didn't even look at it. But something felt off. So I called the number on the bill. A tired man picked up. His voice was dry, tired.
You're living in flat B3?
I froze. Yeah.
That unit's been closed since 2017. Gas leak explosion. No one's lived there since.
I didn't know what to say. I hung up. But for the first time since we moved in, I didn't want to go back inside.
Mrs. Verma didn't come to collect rent that week.
Her door stayed closed. No footsteps, no knocking, nothing. The hallway felt colder than usual.
Quieter.
Misha said she probably left to visit family, but I noticed something strange. The smell, it crept under our door, a mix of burnt roses and something sour, like old incense that had been burning for too long. We knocked. No answer. We waited. Still, no one opened the door. And when I leaned in, I swear, I heard her whispering on the other side, but it wasn't in any language I understood. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing sounds from upstairs, footsteps, slow pacing, over and over. I decided to ask the woman who lived directly above us. We'd never talked before. She opened the door just a crack. A thin line of light lit half her face. I smiled politely. "Sorry to bother you, I just wanted to ask. Do you know Mrs. Verma, the one who handles the rent?" She froze, eyes widening like I'd said something terrible.
Verma auntie died years ago. Gas leak. In your unit.
I didn't know what to say, but before I could ask another question, she was gone. Dead? How could she be dead? We saw her just days ago. She brought us tea. She took our rent. Then who was living right across from us? I couldn't ignore it anymore. Not the whispers, not the locked door, not the stories. Something was wrong with this place. I started checking the walls, corners, behind the furniture, looking for anything. Then a hollow thud. And then, behind a loose panel near the fuse box, I found it. An envelope, old, torn, burnt along the edges. Inside were photos of other couples. Different faces, different years, all of them standing in our apartment, in the same poses, same window, same furniture. And beneath the photos, receipts, all signed by the same hand, Mrs. Verma. Different names, different victims, but always the same address. She'd done this before, and each time she kept the proof. After what I found, I couldn't sleep. So I stepped out into the hallway. The air felt heavier out there, like the walls knew. I walked to the end of the corridor. Something I never noticed before, a building photo. Framed, faded, staff, tenants, maybe from 10 years ago. I leaned in closer, and that's when I saw her, Mrs. Verma, standing in the middle of the group, holding a clipboard, but her face was scratched out. Not worn away, not faded, deliberately scratched. Dozens of jagged lines where her eyes used to be. Below it, a tiny plaque. It read, Mrs. Verma, deceased, explosion in B3, January 2017. We were living in the apartment she died in. She didn't survive the gas leak, but she came back anyway to collect what she was still owed. The next morning,
There was an envelope.
No knock, no footsteps, just there. It sat neatly under the door, white, sealed. Nisha picked it up, opened it, and froze. Inside were the exact bills we'd given her, folded, flattened, not a wrinkle on them. The rent. Returned. We stared at each other in silence. Then we noticed it. A note inside. My rent.
Paid in full.
It wasn't her handwriting. It wasn't even in ink. It was burned into the paper, like it had been seared, pressed into the page. Misha dropped it. We didn't speak for the rest of the day. We were being warned.
That night, I woke up at 2:17 a.m. Something pulled me out of sleep. A sound. A presence. I stepped into the hallway, barefoot, cold. And I saw it. The door across from ours, the one that had always been locked, was now open. The padlock lying on the floor, cleanly snapped. The air pouring out of that room was colder than outside, thicker, like walking into a place that remembered things. I stepped closer. Inside, no furniture, no boxes, just walls covered in black. Not paint, not mold, char marks, like a fire had raged inside, but only touched the walls. In the center of the floor sat an old chair, burnt, crumbling, and in that chair, a shape. For just a second, I saw her staring at me. Then the lights went out.
When the lights came back on, the room was empty, the chair burnt through completely. No sign of her, no ashes, no Verma. I stumbled back into our flat, heart racing, head spinning. But something was wrong. Nisha wasn't in bed. I checked the bathroom, the kitchen, everywhere. No note, no sound, no warmth left in her tea mug. She was just gone. I ran outside. Checked the building, the security cameras, nothing. It was like she vanished in her sleep. I screamed her name in the stairwell, cried into the elevator mirror. I went back into the burnt room, but it was sealed again, padlocked. No sign it had ever opened.
She's not yours anymore.
The police couldn't help, no proof of entry, no signs of struggle, just one tenant missing, and me staring into the dark, alone.
Days passed. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. I just sat, staring at the walls, waiting for something, anything. Then I saw her, Nisha, in the bathroom mirror, not behind me, inside it, just standing there, not blinking, not moving. I turned around, no one, but when I looked back, she mouthed something.
Help me.
That same day, an envelope appeared under the door again. The rent returned again and written in that same scorched script.
Paid in full.
Every time I touched money, my wallet, a coin, a bill, I'd hear her voice, faint, calling out. She was tied to it, to Verma's obsession, to the transaction, to the room. Nisha hadn't just disappeared. She'd been taken by the house.
I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get her back, even if it meant going through her. I broke into the room. The blackened walls still stank of smoke.
but the air felt different this time. Like something knew I was coming, like it was waiting. In the middle, the chair was gone. Now there was a mirror, just standing there, cracked, but pulsing, like it was alive. And inside it, Nisha. She was screaming, mouth open but no sound. I reached out, grabbed the edges of the frame, and pulled. The glass was hot, burning. It cut deep into my palms, but I didn't care. And Sen, she was in my arms, alive, crying, shaking, burnt, but real. Behind us, Verma stood, her eyes hollow, her mouth moving, but no words came out. Just one long, final breath, and she was gone.
We packed the next morning. Didn't speak. Didn't rest. Just left. Left the burned room, the whispers, the rent. I never turned back, not even once. We moved across town. New apartment, new furniture, new locks. For weeks, things were quiet. Too quiet. But then, one night, I heard it. That sound again. An envelope, perfectly folded, waiting. Inside was no money, no receipt, just a note.
Rent is due.
We left that apartment too, and now we never stay in one place for long. Because she's still with us, somewhere in the shadows, in the silence, in the rent we never owed.
You can change your address, but if she picks you,
She always collects.